What if I told you that the Iraqi dinar situation in 2025 is not what most people have been led to believe? For over 2 decades, countless investors have clung to the hope that a dramatic currency revaluation would create overnight millionaires. Across social media platforms, investment forums, and promotional sites, bold promises of instant wealth continue to circulate. But in this report, we're cutting through the hype, speculation, and misinformation to bring you the facts. In the next few minutes, we'll examine why the idea of sudden riches is unrealistic, what real factors are influencing the dinar in 2025, and what investors should know before making decisions. By the end, you'll have a grounded understanding of the dinar's true potential, its risks, and the realities behind the long-standing myths. Let's begin with a clear look at Iraq's current economic landscape. Many proponents of the dinar speak as though Iraq is on the brink of an economic surge that will catapult the currency's value. The reality is far more nuanced. Iraq's economy remains heavily dependent on oil exports, which still account for roughly 90% of government income. This dependence means the nation's fiscal stability is directly tied to global oil price fluctuations. When oil prices rise, government revenue grows temporarily, and the dinar gains some strength. When prices fall, revenues decline, and the currency weakens. Such reliance on a single commodity leaves Iraq's economy vulnerable to external shocks. While diversification efforts are underway, meaningful transformation takes time, often measured in years, not months. Another crucial factor shaping the dinar's performance is Iraq's ongoing reconstruction. Decades of conflict have left behind damaged infrastructure, from highways and bridges to hospitals and power facilities. Rebuilding these essential systems demands enormous capital investment, constantly straining national reserves. Unlike mature economies that generate growth through innovation and production, Iraq must allocate significant resources simply to repair and maintain basic infrastructure. This limits the government's flexibility in pursuing rapid economic reforms or currency adjustments. For investors expecting a sudden revaluation, it's important to understand that sustained currency appreciation comes only through consistent economic progress, fiscal discipline, and long-term stability, areas where Iraq continues to face considerable challenges in 2025. Iraq's ties with international financial organizations also play a defining role. The country works closely with the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank to strengthen its fiscal position and guide reform. These partnerships provide critical financial support and technical advice, but they also come with strict requirements. The IMF and World Bank often call for reduced government spending, improved tax systems, and diversification away from oil dependency. Such structural reforms take years to fully implement. Till they are achieved, any talk of an abrupt surge in the dinar's value remains unrealistic. Real economic reform drives sustainable growth, not rapid windfalls, and this distinction is key for investors seeking clarity amid speculation. Turning to the dinar's exchange rate, the Central Bank of Iraq maintains an official rate of around 1,320 dinars per US dollar. However, a parallel market exists where rates can differ, sometimes trading higher than the official figure. This disparity often fuels false optimism. Promoters frequently cite higher street market rates as evidence that the dinar is undervalued and poised for revaluation. In truth, these differences reflect market inefficiencies, economic instability, and currency controls, not hidden value. Understanding this reality is vital. Exchange rate discrepancies do not automatically translate into future profits. For serious investors, recognizing this distinction helps avoid costly misconceptions about how currency markets actually function. The concept of revaluation itself is frequently misrepresented in dinar circles. Currency's value doesn't rise simply because a government declares it so. True appreciation occurs when a nation's underlying economy expands through greater productivity, investment, and stability. Countries such as China and Vietnam have seen gradual currency strengthening over years of sustained growth, not overnight. Iraq, meanwhile, continues to rebuild and modernize at a steady but slow pace. Its GDP per capita remains low, and while progress is visible, it's incremental. This makes the idea of an immediate, dramatic revaluation far-fetched. Anyone expecting instant wealth from dinar holdings is likely to face disappointment rather than profit. It's also important to remember that the global foreign exchange market operates on massive scale, over $6 trillion traded daily. Major banks, hedge funds, and central institutions monitor global currencies constantly. If Iraq were genuinely approaching a major revaluation, institutional investors would already be positioning themselves accordingly. That hasn't happened. The absence of large-scale foreign investment in the dinar is one of the clearest indicators of its realistic prospects. Serious investors rely on verified data and market fundamentals, not speculation. The lack of institutional movement signals that significant, short-term gains are unlikely in 2025. Financial regulators and economic experts have repeatedly warned about speculative dinar schemes. Over the years, many individuals have lost large sums chasing unrealistic promises of quick returns. Promoters often exaggerate potential profits, framing the dinar as a guaranteed path to wealth. These narratives are misleading. Iraq's economic path is gradual, and its monetary policies evolve over long timeframes, not sudden shifts. Anyone considering dinar purchases should recognize that the risks of loss are high. The dinar should only be viewed as a speculative instrument, not a stable investment. Keeping this perspective helps investors stay informed and avoid the traps of misinformation. While Iraq continues to make progress, the improvements are gradual rather than transformative. Oil production has increased modestly. Certain infrastructure projects have moved forward, and some political stability has emerged. Yet, persistent challenges, including corruption, regional instability, and governance issues, still weigh heavily on investor confidence. These factors directly affect the dinar's performance. Genuine currency appreciation requires years of consistent reform and stability. The question ascends to whether Iraq is progressing. It's how long that progress will take to yield tangible currency gains. Three main factors are driving the dinar's direction in 2025. First, oil prices and production remain central. As oil accounts for most of Iraq's income, global price shifts directly influence currency strength. While production growth can support the dinar, infrastructure expansion takes significant time. Second, Iraq's cooperation with the IMF and World Bank provides essential support but comes with constraints, slowing policy flexibility. Third, regional political stability continues to shape investor sentiment. Conflict or unrest in neighboring countries often creates uncertainty, while peace and stability can encourage foreign investment. These dynamics together define Iraq's financial outlook. Misconceptions about the dinar continue to mislead many would-be investors. One common claim is that Iraq's vast oil reserves will automatically elevate the dinar's value. However, oil wealth alone isn't enough. Efficient extraction and export require massive infrastructure investment in pipelines, refineries, and energy systems. Without this, Iraq cannot fully benefit from its resources. Another myth involves removing zeros from the currency, which many interpret as instant value creation. In reality, redenomination simplifies accounting, not wealth. Such myths persist because they appeal to hope, but they overlook the complex economic realities shaping Iraq's future. Another frequently repeated rumor is that major international banks are secretly stockpiling dinars in anticipation of a revaluation. In today's interconnected global financial system, such actions would be impossible to conceal. Institutions are legally required to disclose holdings, and there is no credible evidence of large-scale accumulation. Investors should treat these claims with caution. Speculating on unverified reports is a dangerous strategy. The dinar's performance in 2025 depends on tangible economic fundamentals: oil, reform, and stability, not covert financial maneuvers. Real progress will unfold gradually over years, not overnight. Realistic expectations are essential for any investor. Iraq's potential lies in long-term development, developing industries, improving infrastructure, and achieving political consistency. Only through these processes can the dinar gradually strengthen over time. This progress, however, will likely span decades. Even with steady growth, the returns will be moderate, not exponential, as those expecting quick profits risk disappointment. Understanding the long horizon of currency evolution allows investors to make rational, informed decisions based on reality, not hype. Before considering a dinar purchase, investors should ask themselves key questions. Can you afford to lose the full investment? Are you prepared to wait potentially decades for returns? Have you verified the legitimacy of the dealer? Many dealers operate with exaggerated marketing claims or in regulatory gray zones. Addressing these questions honestly can protect investors from potential scams. Currency speculation should never replace sound financial planning. Due diligence is the best safeguard against loss.